August 23rd, 2010, London, England. A police officer arrives at 36 Alderney Street in Pimlico, a quiet upscale neighborhood not far from the Thames. He's there for a welfare check. Gareth Williams, a 31-year-old mathematician who works for British intelligence, hasn't shown up to work in over a week. His family is worried. His employers finally noticed he was missing. The officer enters the flat. Nothing looks disturbed. No broken windows, no overturned furniture, no signs of a struggle. Just stillness and heat. The heat is on, full blast in the middle of August. He walks through the living room, past the table with a cell phone, 2 Sims cards, and a woman's wig, into the main bedroom, into the ensuite bathroom, and there, in the bathtub, is a red sports bag. A North Face hold-all, 81 centimeters by 48 centimeters, zipped, padlocked from the outside. The officer approaches. He knows before he even touches it what he's going to find. Inside that bag is Gareth Williams, naked, curled in a fetal position, decomposing. The key to the padlock? It's underneath his body, inside the bag with him. No one knows how he got in it. No one knows how the bag was locked from the outside. And 14 years later, no one can agree on whether this is a tragic accident, a calculated murder, or something else entirely.
No, absolutely not. There is no way someone just casually zips themselves into a locked bag in a bathtub.
That's exactly why we're talking about it today. Welcome back to Coffee and Crime with Mom. I'm Zalle.
And I'm Nicholle.
Today's case is one of the most baffling deaths in modern intelligence history. A man who worked for 2 of Britain's most secretive agencies, GCHQ and MI6, found dead in circumstances that experts have called physically impossible. This is a case of Gareth Williams, the man found in the bag, and the mystery that 14 years later still has no definite answer.
And this one frustrates me because the more you read about it, the less sense it makes.
It really does. And what makes it so important beyond the intrigue of the intelligence angle is what it represents about institutional failure, about the limits of forensic science, and about what happens when the people who are supposed to protect us become the ones who obstruct the truth. So today we're going deep. We're talking about who Gareth was, what happened to him, the forensic contradictions that make this case almost impossible to solve, and why his family is still fighting for answers.
Well, let's do it.
Okay. Before we dive and all the way into today's episode, what are we drinking today, Mom?
Well, today I got fancy and I still did my whipped coffee. Y'all just gonna have to let me get over this hyperfixation. But I had some like melting caramel that we bought because your dad wanted to try to do something that he still hasn't done. But anyway, so I melted some of that and I kind of put it in the bottom of my pretty cup here and then just put my whip and all that on top of it. So I got a little caramel splash in there.
A little sweetened. Okay. Okay. Well, I am on like this weird, I don't really know where my taste buds are right now type thing. Um, because I've been drinking coffee for so long.
Hmm.
No. I started with Pooh, and Pooh is a black coffee type of gal. And so I
We
feel
should
like,
explain who Pooh is
oh,
because
Pooh is my grandmother. She is
yes.
obviously my mom's mom.
Yes, hello.
Coffee and
Hello.
crime with mom.
I'm
Her
mom.
mom.
I'm mom.
Yes,
Yeah.
her mom. And that is the white woman of our family. Yes. And she
She's our white
drinks,
lady.
yes, she drinks her coffee black. Well, she
She
used to.
does.
Now
She
she
u-
does with
she
some
switched it up.
creamer. Yeah, she got
Mhm.
old to
I
switch it
got
up.
her hooked on it when I was in the hospital after I had the surgery, so she
Right.
started buying the little cups, and now
Yeah,
she's
now it's a
addicted.
whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Mhm,
But so because I used to drink it black with her, now like I did switch it. Like once I
mhm,
got into like my 20s, I started doing all the creamers and all the extras and all that.
mhm.
And I'd be like, it'd be too much, it's too sweet. So what I have going on today is I
Okay.
have a dark roast with
Mhm.
a dash of heavy whipping cream
Ooh,
and some caramel macchiato creamer. And I just
okay.
mixed that up because I want it to have, like, the thickness, but I don't want it to be, like, super sweet. It's no sugar or nothing else in here. It's just the coffee and
Okay.
those 2.
Okay.
And that is what I'm drinking in my, Nespresso cup
Oh, look,
that
you
I
fancy. We
found.
got our fancy cups today. I got
Yes,
my
yes.
love yourself cup.
So my husband works for FedEx,
Mhm.
and he works on the north side of town where the rich people stay, and they
Some parts
throw.
of the north side, some parts, let's be
Right,
clear.
no, but the part that he works at is where the rich
Okay.
people stay, right, and so they be giving away stuff, and he be like, "Y'all giving away this stuff?" And they be giving out, like, big old trough full things of like, putting it in the trash of, like,
Mhm.
coffee cups and dishes, and they had pots
Yeah.
and, what they a deep fryer for chicken and all kind of stuff. He was
Oh
like,
my
y'all
goodness.
get this stuff work?
Can I
Y'all
get
get
some?
ready." Yeah, he was like, they were like, "You want it?" He was like, "Oh, yeah," and it had, like, 30 coffee cups in there.
Okay.
I got a whole bunch of coffee cups.
That's right. Repurpose it,
Yes,
keep using
yes,
it. Yeah, yeah.
yes. So next week, we're gonna
You're
be
teasing
covering,
again?
uh, we're just gonna this is gonna be a thing
Okay, okay.
every episode. We're gonna tease every episode so y'all kinda
Mm.
know. Y'all have the suspense of like,
Prepare yourself
"Ooh."
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week, we're gonna be covering the murder of John Benet Ramsey.
What? We are
John Benet
dealing with
Ramsey.
some big cases. What's fun about this, doing this with you, is that a lot of times you've heard of these cases, but,
Right.
like, you don't know all of the weird, crazy details on some of the older ones, and it's fun when you first hear it, and I get to see your face to
Mhm.
be like, "What in the actual are these people talking about?" So, I get to
Right,
experience
so
it again through you.
especially that's awesome because especially for this one, like, for
Yeah.
anybody who doesn't know, John Benet Ramsey was a six-year-old beauty pageant queen found dead in her family's Boulder, Colorado basement
Mhm.
on December 26th in 1996, which is the year that I was born.
I didn't even put that together, the year you were
Yes.
born.
The year
Okay.
that I was born, okay? And the case has spawned decades of theories. It has documentaries, books, and investigations, which I know this case because of a documentary that I've seen. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was on Netflix.
Okay.
So, and I'm not gonna lie to you, if I talk about documentaries most of the time,
It's
it's from
Netflix.
Netflix,
I
okay?
agree.
Netflix, HBO.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at with it for the most
Yeah.
part. But just recently, there have been new developments with the advanced DNA testing and a fresh
Okay.
push by Boulder police to solve it. So,
Wow, 30 years. Some people have been waiting for answers, and we better go deep and heavy on this one.
yeah, I mean, 30 years is a long time. And like the Gareth Williams case, it's a story where the technology keeps evolving, where what was impossible in 1996 is now
Mhm.
possible in 2026. So, families keep hoping that one breakthrough will finally give them the truth and mark your
Mhm.
calendars because that's what we'll be doing next week. Prepare yourself. If you have the time, go ahead and watch those documentaries or, get up on that a little bit. And if not, then just make sure that you make a full pot of coffee for next week. But today we're going to do Gareth Williams. And trust me, this one is just as complex, just as infuriating, and just as heartbreaking. So,
Mm.
Gareth Wine Williams was born in 1978 in Anglesley,
Anglesey. Anglesey.
Anglesey, baby.
We again? We again? Or we're just sad Americans. We don't know how to say
Please. And I
some of the
am not
American words,
one of
so
the
we're really
Americans
testing
that
our
is
vocabulary.
ashamed to admit I can be very ignorant. And it's not on purpose, but sometimes it is. But this particular time, no,
Yeah,
it's not.
that wasn't. Angles, we're just gonna say it how it
Angles.
looks, and please, anyone
Anglesey.
from this part of the country, this part of the world, just forgive us, we are trying our best.
Yes, Anglesey, North Wales. A small island off
Wales,
the Wales. What I
Wales,
say? Walls.
Walls, Wales.
North Wales. Okay. He was born in 1978 in An- say it again. Anglesey,
Anglesey?
Anglesey, North
Uh-huh,
Wales. I'm going to get
uh-huh.
that, you guys. A small
We're gonna
island
get
off
it.
the North Wales. The North Wales. Look at this. See, it's not just. It's not even. It's all the words, you guys. A small island off the northwest coast of Wales, known for its
Mm,
rugged beauty and tight knit communities. He was a math prodigy. He finished university at the age of 17.
mm,
And that kind of mind doesn't come along often. That
no.
that sees patterns in like chaos and that breaks codes others can't even read and graduating university at 17. I mean,
University, yeah.
that's
That's a
doesn't happen
genius,
often.
genius, a
No, a
genuine
genius.
genius, genius.
I agree. A genius, genuine genius. And that
Both
genius,
people.
yeah, and that genius is what brought him to the attention of the GCHQ, Britain's government communications headquarters, their signals intelligence agency. Baby, ugh,
We're gonna
my
get through
mouth
it.
is not working with me. Okay, their signals, right? Their signals intelligence agency, the British equivalent of the NSA. He worked there for several years before being seconded to
Mhm.
MI6, the secret intelligence service, Britain's foreign intelligence agency, the people who do the real spy work. And when I don't know much about MI6, I just know that when they be doing like the James Bond movies,
Mhm, mhm,
they
mhm.
be MI6 people.
They be jumping down. Yeah, they be doing all kind of stuff. So he was a spy is what you're saying.
I mean, he was a code breaker on
Okay.
assignment to the spies.
Okay. Okay.
So his work involved financial intelligence, cyber
Mm.
operations, hacking, and tracking money flows linked to international crime and potentially hostile foreign powers. He wasn't James Bond.
Oh.
He was the person that James Bond's agency calls when they need somebody to break an encryption or trace a financial transaction through 12 shell companies. He
Oh, wow.
was,
So the brain behind the operation is what you're
yeah,
saying.
exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. And I
That's
mean, when I like sit back and think about it, I wish I could do that stuff.
be a
I wish my
spy.
brain worked like that. I don't necessarily know if I want to be a spy, but to be able to do what he was doing, where he could like
Oh.
do all that with the computers, because you got to
Mhm.
be able to like see the stuff. I cannot.
I wish I
Yes,
could do that too, and then I could
right.
go and anonymous would recruit me,
That's what I'm
and I would
saying.
happily be a part of it, like all of
I
that
don't necessarily
society.
want to go to be like part of the government or whatever,
No,
because one way or
no.
the other, I would get fired because y'all gonna be
Oh,
on some BS, and then I'm gonna be the person that's backdoor getting all the stuff like, "Oh, okay, that's how y'all handling it. Oh, we over
mhm,
here and this what we doing?" And y'all think
yeah.
that people not supposed to know? Dropped it. So, like, that couldn't be me, you know? They
You
would
would
off
be
me. I would
you would be
be
Gareth Williams in the
in the
bag
bag,
with
in the
the
bath.
keys
Mhm.
in the bath. That would
Yep.
be
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, so here's what matters about who he was. Gareth Williams was not a risk taker. His sister, S
Sherry.
Sherry, say her
Mhm.
last name, Sube?
I'd go with it. Sound looks right to me.
Looks right. Oh, I apologize if that's not how you pronounce your last name. But she described him as the most scrupulous risk assessor. She knew. Those are big. That's nice. Scrupulous
Scrupulous risk assessor.
assessor. He disliked office culture. He didn't do post work drinks. He didn't like the rat race of London. He had actually requested to return to GCHQ headquarters in Cheltenham,
Mhm.
preferring the quieter country life to the intensity of London and MI6. So he
Yeah,
was
so
trying to leave London.
Right, he wasn't someone who sought out the danger.
No, not if you're trying to leave the city to go
Mhm.
to the countryside.
And I think on some of the things that, on the research, it was saying that he didn't like the red tape part of his move to this other part of the government, MI6, because it was a lot of red tape to get the information. He wanted to do the code cracking and stuff, and it was always a hassle, and he didn't enjoy that part, so he was ready
Oh,
to
he
go
just
back
wanted
to
to
where
be
he
able to
came
do what
from.
he wanted to do.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So it seems like he was private, meticulous, and structured. The kind of person who plans everything, who thinks 3 moves ahead. So sounds like me, except for the thinking 3 moves ahead. Yeah.
You
Okay.
thought
So
about it 3 moves
yeah,
ahead,
three
and that's
moves
why you
ahead.
got anxious and you just gave
Then
up
I
the whole
just gave
plan
up on the
because you
plan.
did too
Yeah.
much.
I thought too far in advance. It's too much.
You did, you overwhelmed
Right.
yourself. You wouldn't even know yet.
Okay. That personality profile becomes really important when we talk about how he died because what happened to Gareth Williams does not match who Gareth Williams was. So we're going to
Okay.
go through exactly what happened because obviously details matter.
Mhm.
Gareth Williams was last seen alive on August 14, 2010 on CCTV at Holland Park Tube Station in London. He was returning from a shopping trip and he was carrying bags. In the early hours of August 16, his laptop logged onto a cycling website, and that's the last known digital activity of his. He was supposed to attend an MI6 meeting on August 16, but he never showed up.
And nobody noticed?
Nobody noticed for 7 days. A
No.
MI6 agent who was
No.
which, the agency he was working for, did not report him missing. They did not go check on him, and they did not seem to care that one of their code breakers had vanished. Like, his family was the one who finally raised the alarm, and his sister Sherry, who hadn't heard from him, she's the one who knew that something was wrong. But, like, it's not like he's one of the agents out in the field. Like they said, the code breaker disappears.
So, that makes it even more
That's what I'm
suspicious
saying, because
that
he's
it took
not the one
7 days.
out
So this
there.
is the guy who has the intelligence, both his intelligence, but he has all the information, all of
On
this, I'm
y'all as
assuming,
well.
serious information because he's breaking the codes to get the information. And then he
Right.
don't show up to work because I've never worked for a government agency. I've worked for a bank, a credit union, but if I don't show up on day 1, somebody was gonna be on
Somebody's
my
gonna
phone.
call. Yeah.
Yeah,
"Hey,
it's gonna
Nicole, are you
somebody wants to
coming in
know,
today?
yeah,
What's
why you
happening?
didn't
You
call us,
sick?" Yeah.
but the people who keep up with all of the people everywhere in that country, they lost him for 7 days in August, and you said with the heating on.
Yeah, so when they found him or when the police went into his place, the heat was on full blast in
Wow.
August, and that delay caused forensic evidence because of decomposition. The heating
Uh-huh.
being on full blast in mid-August accelerated
Yeah.
everything, and by the time the police entered, any chance of finding DNA, fingerprints, or trace evidence was severely compromised. The coroner would later call this delay extra anguish and suffering for the family, but it was more than that. It was the loss of evidence that might have solved the case.
So, what did they find when they finally got there?
They found a flat that looked normal. No forced entry, no struggle, no sign of a break in. In the living room on the table was a phone, two
Mhm.
SIMS cards, a woman's wig, which the two SIMS card, that's kind of weird, but the woman's
Mhm.
wig is definitely weird. And then they
Right.
go into the main bedroom's ensuite bathroom, and that's where they see the red North Face sports bag in the bathtub. It was 81 centimeters by 48 centimeters. It was long enough to hold a person, but barely. It was zipped shut, padlocked from the outside. And inside, obviously, again, Gareth Williams was in there. He was naked and curled in a fetal position, and the key to the padlock was underneath his body in the bag.
Okay.
This is where the case turns from like strange to almost uh, it almost gives like alienish or like
Mhm.
real conspiracy theory because
Right.
it's so many contradictions.
Mhm.
And so we're going to go through each carefully because this is the heart of the mystery. Okay.
Okay, so the lock bag.
We'll start with the locked bag. Let's start with the physics. The bag was padlocked from the outside, but the key was inside the bag underneath the body, and there were no fingerprints on the bag, the padlock, the zipper, or on the bathtub, at least the rim of the bathtub where the bag was at. There were no footprints in the bathroom and no DNA evidence that definitively pointed to another person being there, though there were inconclusive fragments from at least two other individuals.
So someone wiped everything clean.
At least two other individuals, because
Right.
I mean, though it didn't like point to anybody
Mhm.
directly, it was evidence. It was at least two other people there. So, and then there's nothing anywhere like
That doesn't make
some
sense. Somebody wiped it down. There's no way, even if we say he got in this bag by himself, because he had
right,
the key under him.
right.
Even if he did all of that, which doesn't make sense. Even if he did all of that, then his fingerprints would be all over not only the bag, but I would think everything around him, how you would have to maneuver your
Because that's
body and push.
that, right, but also, this is your apartment, so
Right.
why are there no
Mhm.
traces of DNA anywhere in your including your evidence, like your DNA
Yeah.
and stuff, where you stay? So either somebody was never there, like, in a they there in a way that never left traces, or they knew how to like move around and avoid
Mhm.
leaving anything. But the crucial part is that the investigators tried to recreate that scenario with the bag, and they
Okay.
had the experts attempt to lock themselves inside an identical bag from the inside of the
And
bag.
and
And they tried over 400 times.
wow.
400 attempts by trained professionals, escaped artists, people who understand confinement and locks. And none of them succeeded.
None.
Not a one. None of them. Peter Falding,
Mhm.
he's a confined space rescue specialist. Did I say his name wrong?
I think it's folding.
Folding, not
Mhm.
Falding. Folding.
It looks like folding, but there's a reference I'm remembering, and I think it was said folding.
Okay, Folding. He was a confined space rescue specialist, and he tried 300 times out of the 400 times himself. And he called the idea of self confinement a physical impossibility and pointed out that even if somebody could get inside and somehow lock the padlock from within, there would be fingerprints and footprints all over the bathtub and the bag. And there
Mhm.
wasn't any of either anywhere.
So the official police theory is that he locked himself in, and that theory is physically impossible according to experts. But also, beyond being impossible, why would you do this? That's the
Okay,
next question.
okay. So we'll get there. According to multiple experts who tried to prove it and failed, and yet that remains the Metropolitan Police position that he did this by himself, which
Mhm.
I don't understand how you have that position after 400 failed attempts, but okay.
Okay.
Pathologist Richard Shepard, who examined the case, noted that Williams' body position suggested he was likely alive when he entered the bag. If he had been placed there after death, the position would likely be different. He wouldn't be in a fetal position like he put himself in the bag. It would probably look more stuffed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So he was alive when he went in. That seems terrifying.
I mean, probably alive, which means that if the police theory is correct, he consciously chose to enter the bag that he couldn't escape from in a position that experts could not recreate, and then what, waited to die.
That doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense.
It does not. It does not. And hypercapnia. I
Mhm.
believe that's how you say that, which is a CO2 buildup, would cause unconsciousness in 2 or 3 minutes in a sealed bag that size. So if he was alive and conscious when he entered, he would have passed out almost immediately because before he could test any kind of escape ability, he wouldn't have been able to do any of that. And remember who we're
Mhm.
talking about, a risk adverse mathematician who planned everything. That does not sound like somebody who would voluntarily enter a bag with no exit strategy.
No, not at all, it doesn't.
You're
No.
thinking 3 steps ahead. You plan everything out.
Right.
I'm gonna get in here. And even let's say he did do it and put the key in there with no way to get to the lock that I've locked from the outside.
I mean, I can't even get there because you would have to tell me why he got in this bag. Even if he killed himself, he that's
Maybe
very
kink,
elaborate.
you
I
know,
mean,
what is that
like,
called? That kink they have where, like, it's on the verge of, like, being
oh, the
unalive.
asphyxia or
Yeah.
when they do,
Maybe it
like,
was
the
like that kinda
strangling
thing.
themselves.
Yeah.
I
Or
okay, I
maybe
don't know
his
much about that,
hobby
so
was trying to be an escape artist, and this
mhm.
was like, "If
And
I
he
do
just
this,
dropped the
then I can
key
go."
under
Or like he was
himself.
trying to Chris Angel his way through this, you know?
So it was a new hobby, maybe. He
Right,
was tired
maybe,
of
maybe.
decoding
I'm
things.
tired of doing the math, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to do math in a new way.
I could see the lady in all the videos with the geometry and all
Yeah,
the
and they're doing
algebra.
it.
That's what
Mhm,
my
mhm.
brain is doing right now because none of this makes sense. None of this makes any sense.
But I don't that's my well, that's what I'm thinking. If that's what they're thinking is the
Well, I understand what you're
hey,
saying. I
you
don't
know what
even
I'm saying?
know.
That's all
I
I
feel
can
like
come
if
up
I'm a
with.
cop and I walk into a bathroom and there's a dead man in a duffel bag in a
I'm
bathtub,
automatically gonna assume
that would not
murder,
be what I thought. Man, I wonder if he
murder.
put himself in that bag in the bathtub.
That's clean. Clean
That's
bathroom,
clean, and there's no
clean
evidence
house,
that he touched anything in here. His whole
nothing is
department has
disturbed,
been wiped down. So he cleaned, he wiped all of his DNA, all of his fingerprints, and then he
and
climbed in
then
his
stuffed
bag without
himself
touching
in the
anything,
bag.
dropped the key under himself. And he didn't know that just in 2 to 3 minutes, he would pass
He
out
would
from
pass out.
CO2.
So
Okay,
maybe when
alright.
he was on his way into the bag, he had the key
Mm,
in, like, a pocket or something, and, like, on the way
mm.
down, he
Maybe his
fell, and
back
then the
pocket.
way he was positioned, he couldn't reach it.
Feel like
If we gotta
they're
make it
stretching
fit.
really
Yeah.
hard to cover
Yeah.
something up.
Right. So in May of 2012, coroner Fiona Wilcox conducted an inquest. She heard from experts, from family, from police, from intelligence agencies, and she reached a conclusion that directly contradicted what the police would later say.
What did she find?
Coroner Wilcox ruled that Gareth Williams' death was unnatural and likely to have been criminally mediated or meditated. Mediated?
Nope, mediated.
Mediated. Okay. I
Mhm.
had it right. I had it right.
That's what you took from that. Okay.
Okay, so this is what happens when you have um undiagnosed what's what is it when the words go like this when you be reading?
Dyslexia.
Mm. And I'm just trying to make it how this is how I get it how I
Just
get it.
trying to
This is
make
what
it
I
work.
got. I'm
You
giving
still
you what I
saying you got
got.
dyslexia. This is the same story. You just carrying that story over from the last episode.
Because it's the truth. Somebody. Okay. On the balance of probabilities, she concluded he was killed unlawfully. She believed a third party placed the bag in the bathtub and locked it, that Williams was probably alive when this happened, that the cause was likely CO2 poisoning or suffocation, or possibly a short acting poison that wouldn't show up on standard toxicology, and she rejected several theories that had been floated in the tabloids, like suicide, autoerotic activity, which is what we were talking
Mhm.
about, or bondage interest, which I guess is another
Would
one. I
be
didn't think about the bondage. I
that to me,
never would have thought that
that
a
makes more
duffel bag
sense than the autoerotic activity.
no,
That
that
bondage makes
makes
more sense,
no, I wouldn't have
but it
thought
still doesn't make sense.
duffel bag bondage. That wouldn't have went for me.
I
But
mean,
she found no evidence
I'm
to
bound up.
support any of those. Okay, that's true.
Mhm, mhm. So the
She didn't
coroner said murder.
she said murder, or at least
Mhm.
unlawful killing by a third party, which I'm not quite sure what the difference is,
I guess maybe
but
legally, murder, manslaughter, maybe?
purposefully, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, but then in 2013, the Metropolitan Police conducted their own review, which I don't know why they did that because clearly y'all failed in the first place.
The
And
first
they
time.
reached the opposite conclusion twice. They said it was probably an accident and that William had locked himself inside the bag during some kind of scenario, possibly related to private interests, possibly just experimentation because that's what we do as, an MI6 mathematician hacker. Let's just experiment with getting in the bags.
See,
I
I don't
feel like
understand
everybody on the
the
department
steps that you
fired,
got.
fired.
So despite the experts who couldn't do it, they couldn't recreate what the police they brought these experts in and the experts said no. And then the coroner said absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
And then they said, "Well, let us try again." Okay, it
Fuck
definitely
what y'all
was
said.
not murder. It
I don't give
definitely
a
was
damn
not what you said.
what y'all said. Who's an
Mm-mm.
expert and where? What I said
But what I
was
said
this is what
was,
happened. So we're gonna go
mhm,
with what I said.
that's what we're gonna go with.
Despite the experts, despite the physics, despite the complete absence of fingerprints, footprints, despite the personality profile of a risk adverse man who planned everything, the police still said accident. And in 2021,
That's
they
not
launched huh?
that's not suspicious at all.
Right, right. I don't see anything wrong with that picture.
Everybody look away. What's that?
Right. What's that? A bird. They launched another forensic review in 2021 using modern technologies. They re examined evidence. They found that DNA on a green towel in the kitchen was Williams, not a third party, as initially thought. They found that DNA on Williams' hand, which had been identified as unknown, was actually contamination from a forensic scientist.
So,
So
um,
I would like to
some mistakes were
backpedal.
made in the original investigation, but let's just say this is a
Mhm.
forensic scientist who is here to collect evidence, put it up, and then take it to the lab. I'm assuming, I neither live in the UK nor am I a
That
forensic
forensics.
scientist.
Yeah.
But my assumptions would be that you'd probably put on gloves, you would cover up your
Gloves,
hair,
cover up.
maybe
Mhm,
put on
mhm.
those white suits where all the stuff that you bring out from the world and
Yeah,
no, no, okay.
yeah,
We're gonna call
yeah.
these mistakes.
Fired. So, in 2024, the police closed the review 3 years after they started it with no new DNA evidence, no new suspects, no new lines of inquiry. Their position remained unchanged. Gareth Williams most likely died alone.
But the coroner said that someone else was involved.
That's what she had said. She said
Oh,
that somebody
mhm.
was unlawfully involved. And 14
Yes.
years later, those two conclusions still stand in direct opposition to each other. I don't understand.
I mean, because it so I often wonder when we hear these stories about different governments and their cover-ups. Like, this is so obviously a cover-up that it hurts you more because not only are you covering something up, but you keep trying to lie to me and tell me things that don't make sense. And that's just what you're gonna go with.
Right. Right.
Beyond the people who you brought in as experts.
You called them. I didn't have
Yeah.
their number.
No, no, I don't
That's
know
not in
them.
my phone
I
book.
was not there. No.
Okay. So we're going to back up. One of
Okay.
the theories, right, is the intelligence angle, which is where we at with it.
Mhm.
But what was he working on, right? Because I feel
Mhm.
like that's important because that
Right.
is kind of what makes the case so tantalizing and so dangerous to speculate about because we don't really know, at least yet, right?
Right.
So Gareth Williams was not just a mathematician. He
Oh.
was a code breaker working on
Right.
some of the most sensitive operations in British intelligence. Like you said earlier, he knew
Mhm.
they business and the other people business that he was
Everybody
hacking, right?
business.
His work involved tracking money flows linked to international crime networks, possible ties to Russian intelligence targets, financial operations that, if exposed, could have serious geopolitical consequences. This sounds like some shit that'll get you off. That's what gets you off in the movies.
And I'm just saying this is a lot. I mean, just what you said right there, it seems like
I done seen
because I
Russian.
mean, none
I
of it
done
makes
seen
sense.
financial. I done
Right.
seen geopolitical.
Political. But my
British
thing is this
intelligence.
what there has to be some type of, I don't know, message somebody is trying to get. This is just the weirdest. I mean, why, if it's a government trying to kill him, they just make him disappear. Why are we killing him or putting him in a bag alive?
Okay, so maybe it was the people, the government people, but something was
Mhm.
happening and somebody like kind of interrupted, so they had to leave in the
Mm.
middle, and they just put the body in the tub while they was cleaning all of the shit up, and they was gonna get his body and leave, but something happened, so they just had to dip. They ain't had time to go back and get the body,
Mm.
and
And maybe
maybe
they just
that's
thought they
what's
just leave
happened.
him there for 7 days and with the
Yeah,
heat
maybe they
on
was
in
gonna come
August.
back. It was probably the people he worked for. They was like, "We ain't worried
Right.
about this shit because we the ones that's gonna investigate." But then it didn't happen.
Mm-mm.
Well, it did happen, but not how they thought that it was gonna happen.
Okay.
Right? Are you keeping up with me
Yes.
here?
Yes,
Okay.
I got you.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where I'm getting at. But he knew things, and he told his friend Elizabeth Guthieri,
Guthrie? Guthrie?
baby.
Say here, okay, so we're gonna have a non-HR approved moment, okay, because I have a question. So my question is, why when your cousins and my cousin say words wrong, do they make them more difficult than the original way the word is said?
Guthrie.
Good theory. You thought this is fancy because it's in the UK, so I'm not gonna say it like it reads. Okay, that's fine.
Ain't nothing else been said how it read, so she I'm trying, okay? Guthrie,
Alright.
that he feared
Mm.
he was the target of hostile surveillance, that he felt he was being watched. Now, in the world of intelligence, paranoia can be a professional caution, but it can also be justified.
So, yeah, it can, but was there any evidence of any foreign involvement?
So, technically, no. There was no
Okay.
concrete evidence that was ever found linking any foreign power to his death. But here's what we do know about how the intelligence agencies behave. So MI6 failed to report him missing for 7 days. That in itself, a
We
huge red
starting
flag,
off and you're guilty in my mind.
right? But the head of MI6, Sir John Sawyers, he met with Britain's most senior police officer after the body was discovered to discuss the investigation's remit, basically what they were allowed to look into. The for Foreign Secretary William
Hague.
Hague, since I didn't say it right, I'm gonna just pause and let you pronounce it. William Hague signed a public interest immunity cert- certificate that withheld details of Williams' work from the inquest. Okay. Details of joint operations with the United States were never disclosed, and perhaps most troubling, nine memory sticks and a North Face bag were found in Williams' MI6 office, but SO15, Britain's counter-terrorism command, did not disclose these items to the murder detectives investigating his death. How are you not involved, but y'all involved? Please explain. Because first
You
of all,
had
why is your
you
foreign
are withholding
secretary?
evidence.
Why is the foreign secretary signing a public interest immunity certificate that withheld details from about Williams' work from the inquest for y'all to even be able to ask any questions about what he
Right.
doing? That's cut off. And Howard is the head of MI6. meeting with the highest or oldest police officer right after the body's discovered to talk about
Mhm.
what it is basically that you're allowed to look into.
So that's the thing though. So like anytime anything goes, anybody thinks like CIA or FBI is doing something, they just say, well, we can't give you that information because of state security or, whatever. So nobody can ever really go in and investigate anything because everything is
Because
so
then they could just say they
secret
can't do
and they
that.
just put it under that umbrella of state security, which to me, what is this? The whole thing is crazy because you're saying, "Oh, it's nothing. He was just playing around and was trying stuff and got locked
Right.
in the bag." But you're also at the same time withholding whatever he was working on that could clearly be a cause of this
Right.
because
So
that would make
you're
more
a
sense.
huge connection
Right.
with the United States that was never
Which them
disclosed.
people are
And
shifty.
then, baby, let me tell you, as an American,
Them
only in
people are
America,
shifty.
okay?
This is America.
This with the long
What you
roll,
see right now is America. We could
okay?
just leave it, just put it down.
Right there.
Put it
I'm just
down.
gonna drop that. But then the 9 memory sticks, and then it was another North Face bag at his office, the MI6 office. Which here's the thing, because he wasn't even why did he have a bag at the office? You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Mhm,
are a coder, you're a hacker, a
mhm.
mathematician. What is in this bag? What
And
is
why do
in the
you
bag?
have 9 memory sticks? Because I'm assuming that stuff not supposed to leave the building, but not only do you have them in a bag, plus there's another bag like that. I mean, it feels like perhaps somebody saw him with the bag that he had, assumed maybe it was the bag that was in his office, and they took their opportunity. I'm just saying, I don't know
So
because
that's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
work for
Maybe somebody
MI6.
covered it up. Maybe somebody who knew about it was able to
Mhm,
know he had that bag at the office. That's what they're going after. I know this
mhm,
is the bag. It's the same bag, North Face bag. So I'm gonna put
mhm,
his body in this bag. They're gonna assume it's the same bag. It's empty. This one he keep at his office. We could just take that bag and then boom, won't nobody know about that, right?
mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
obviously somebody saw it at the point that
Somebody
we
did
can
something.
know,
I don't care
right?
what they say, this man didn't put
Right.
himself in it.
Right. So an SO-15 officer later claimed that intelligence agencies had assured him the items weren't relevant. But how could he
Mm,
know that without examining them? How can anybody know what was relevant without looking? And how can you be in the middle of an investigation
that's not your
and tell
investigation.
me
Deciding what's
that it's not
relevant.
relevant?
You're not the
Right.
investigator.
And then the front door and the locks of Williams' flat were removed before police forensics could examine them.
Now that's obstruction. That they're
It's
not
big
even trying
obstruction.
to like be cool and, charismatic and get these, it's nothing. They're just taking evidence.
If it looked like a duck and it quacked like a duck, it's obstruction. Okay.
Mm.
Whether it was deliberate or them being incompetent, the effect was the same. Evidence was lost, compromised, or never collected. And they blocked so much stuff. And the family has consistently believed that foul play was involved, that the scene was staged, that someone with professional skills, someone who knew how to avoid leaving traces, were responsible, such as
Mm.
a James Bond. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Because that's what
That I
it's
mean, none of it
giving.
makes sense to me, and it's not nothing makes me more angry than when someone lies to me in such a way that I believe that you believe I'm stupid.
Well, see, here's that
That's
part.
what
And I
bothers
feel
me.
like they're just like, oh, it's not that. It couldn't possibly be that. It's movies. Y'all are believing stuff that's not real.
Yeah,
It's blah, blah, blah. It's just in the movies. We know that y'all people is up to some shifty stuff. We already know y'all out here doing things you ain't out here supposed to
right.
be doing.
And we know that a lot of stuff we see in movies
Is
we end up at least seeing is true. It could have always
the
been true, but we finally
idea
see that it's true.
is coming from somewhere.
Hmm.
Okay. Do your research. Anyways, we're going to look back at the psychology of Gareth
Okay.
Williams. Excuse me. Because I feel like that's going to help us understand what probably did not happen to him.
So the personality profile.
His personality profile. He was highly intelligent. He was private, structured, risk adverse, as we keep saying, very meticulous. A man who planned everything, who didn't like spontaneity, who preferred the quiet of the countryside to the chaos of London. And his sister called him the most scrupulous risk assessor she knew. This is not someone who takes unnecessary chances. This is not someone who experiments with dangerous scenarios for thrills, like getting in a
Right.
bag. Right. Mhm.
I don't understand any of that. And so what about the tabloid theories?
Oh, the tabloids had a field day. They found that William had visited bondage websites on 4 separate days, which I don't think that that's a huge thing. But they found 20,000 to 25,000 euros worth of women's clothing, wigs, and makeup in his flat. That is That's weird. They found that his landlady had once discovered him tied to bedposts, though he claimed he was testing his ability to escape. And then
Hmm.
they ran with that, which is where they got the autoerotic accident and bondage gone wrong in the secret double life. But Coroner Wilcox rejected this. She found that the website visits were too intermediate to indicate an active interest. Like it wasn't a consistent thing, too far in
Mhm.
between. The
Okay.
clothing was consistent with his fashion interest. He attended fashion courses and with gift giving. And the wigs were consistent with manga cosplay, which he enjoyed. And if anybody is like me and y'all like the animes and the mangas, you understand. Okay.
Mhm.
That's not far
Mhm.
fetched. But the landlady incident where she found him tied to the bedpost, that was also 3 years before. And it was just one time. And he did explain it as an escape test, but still.
So this doesn't add up, but because he 4 times they saw him go on these websites. Okay, if I'm to the point where I'm going to try to put myself in a bag and lock myself in the bag from inside the bag, but the lock is on the outside. And I'm going to try to do all of this. I'm way more into this than 4 website searches. I'm interested in this.
Like this is
Even
what
if
I've
you
been
take
trying.
if
Yeah.
you take into account the landlady's story. I mean, he probably was doing something with somebody. Maybe they scammed him and
And left
left
and
him
he was
there tied
embarrassed
up.
to
It could be
say what
anything.
really
So we
happened.
don't know
Yeah.
what that is, and that's a big leap from there to this situation.
The only thing that would catch me off guard is the women's clothing and the makeup because unless you're like a secret cross dresser, you know what I'm saying? You're not going undercover as a woman. Like, that's not what you're
Right,
doing as
and
a
they were
code hacker.
saying
We're not sending you out there.
right,
So unless you
exactly.
had like a secret woman that you were with that lived with you and nobody knew that y'all was in like this relationship and that's where all that came from, that is weird.
Well, I mean, he had a sister. And if he was making money and he was single and he had this money,
Maybe he
maybe
was
he was
just stockpiling gifts, like buying
well, maybe it
things.
was I don't mean, when did this happen? Maybe it was almost Christmas time. We don't know. But he could be into things in his personal life that's nobody's business. But even that is a big leap from I have all these clothes and makeup and was he in the bag in a wig with makeup on in women's clothes?
No.
Other than that, you can't put those 2 things together. It's just something
Right.
else that doesn't really fit into a picture. But it
Okay.
doesn't add to that theory.
Right. So none of it is holding up to
Mm-mm.
any of the scrutiny. Okay.
Right.
And more importantly, it really doesn't match his like psychology. Would this
Mhm.
type of person with like such structured thinking voluntarily enter a bag and seal it up with no
Mhm.
exit plan? Would he do so
Right.
in a way that experts can't even replicate? Like, how did you get to that level of expertise where people can't replicate this off of 4 internet searches? Like,
Mhm.
that doesn't make sense. The
That doesn't.
psychological mismatch is astonishing. And it's one of the reasons the coroner rejected the accident theory because it just doesn't make sense. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going to strip away the theories and focus on what we can say with certainty.
So what do we know?
Okay. We know that Williams was last seen alive on August 14, 2010. He was
Mhm.
found dead on August 23rd, 2010, inside a locked sports bag in his bathtub. The bag was padlocked from the outside, but the key was inside under his body. There were no fingerprints or footprints on the bag, padlock, zipper, or bathtub rim. Experts tried over 400 times to recreate this situation and failed every time. A coroner ruled it unnatural and likely criminally mediated, unlawful killing. Okay. The police still maintained probably an accident after all of that. There were no drugs, alcohol, or poisons detected.
Mhm.
No definitive DNA evidence of a third party was involved, though there were inconclusive fragments. MI6 delayed reporting him missing for 7 days. Intelligence agencies withheld evidence from the investigation. The case was reviewed again from 2021 to 2024 with no new evidence. And as of 2024, the case remains officially unresolved. So still open.
That is just crazy. So we're left with a locked bag, a missing explanation, and a whole lot of questions, and no reasonable answers coming from the police.
I mean, yeah, we're just left with the log bag, the missing explanation, and then the two official conclusions that completely contradict each other. Okay. And then
Mhm.
his family that still believes that their son and brother was murdered, and intelligence agencies that at best were incompetent and at worst completely obstructed justice. So, I
Mm.
mean, I don't really know where to go here. I'm on the side that this is a cover up. And they did such a poor job because they just felt like we could just blow this off and it's going to be like, yeah, whatever. Or it was done by, like, let's say another country and they
Mhm.
wanted the people to know like what was
Mhm.
going on. But this is his country's way of just saying, no, this isn't happening. So they don't have to like focus
They'll
on
probably
what,
tell some of their secrets.
right.
Right, so I don't know what happened. I don't know who did it, but I know Gareth didn't do it. I
No,
can
that
use
doesn't
my
make
own
sense.
common sense to know that he did not do that, and the lies and the cover up just it makes it so clear that something was wrong. It makes
Right.
it clear that you're hiding something.
Right. And regardless to all of that, before we close, I just want to make sure that we make sure we say his name. To us, that's like one of the most important parts of every every episode is making sure that their stories, the victims or the people's stories, are told from like their life, not just as being a victim or a case number, and not just
Mhm.
being known as the titles that go along with what happens to them, like not just being known as a spy in the back or just a conspiracy theory. We want to see him as a whole person.
'Cause he was a whole person,
Yes,
whatever
he
happened to
was.
him.
Yes, Gareth Williams, 31 years old, a mathematician, a codebreaker, a man who loved cycling and running in manga. I never know how to say it.
Manga? Manga?
Manga. Manga sounds
We've
right.
said them all at this point. We'll just
Yeah.
choose the right one.
Cycling and running in manga and fashion, a brother, a son, a friend. He was born in
Anglesey?
Anglesey, North Wales. I don't like that word. I'm
I
sorry.
don't even know if
Anglesey,
that's
North
right. I'm
Wales.
just pronouncing it how it looks. So
Right.
I don't
Okay.
know if
Well,
that's
that's what
right.
we're going with. He was a
Okay.
prodigy who finished university at 17. He chose a life of service, working for his country's intelligence agencies, using his extraordinary mind to protect others. He was private, meticulous, risk adverse, the kind of person who thinks before he acts, who plans, who considers consequences. He deserved to live a long life. He deserved to return to the countryside he loved as he asked, and he deserved to grow old with his family. Instead, he was found in a bag in a bathtub, a safe house that was not safe. And 14 years later, we still don't know what happened to him, but We do know his name, and we tried our best to say it out loud during this episode.
We see you, Gareth Williams.
Yes, Gareth, we see you, and we are sorry for what happened to you and the lack of competency in trying to
Mhm.
solve your
Right.
case. This was not a neat story, and it doesn't have a tidy ending, and it doesn't have a villain who was caught or a hero who saved the day. It was a dead man. It has a dead man and a locked bag and two completely contradictory official conclusions and a family that is still waiting to know the truth and probably will never know.
Right. And what keeps me up at night is the institutional failure, but more so what seems like malice
Yeah.
and dishonesty
Mhm.
over protecting something over the truth about this man who served not I mean, whether he served his country or not, but he worked with these people and he was somebody's son, somebody's brother. People loved him and
Yeah.
they totally ignored what happened to him or hid it.
Yeah, it just seems like a complete disregard for him as a a person, period. The
Mhm.
institutional failure was huge. And 7 days before anyone noticed he was missing at your job, like, that doesn't make sense.
No.
Evidence withheld, the scene compromised, the front door being removed before forensics could examine it, a forensic scientist DNA misidentified as evidence, which is crazy. That caused the family additional pain. The coroner who said murder and a police force who said accident and never meeting in the middle to really try to figure out what happened. And through it all, the intelligence agencies, the very people Gareth Williams served, seem to have been more interested in protecting their own secrets than finding out the truth about his death, which they probably knew, because was this a tragic accident, a calculated murder, a perfectly executed cover up? Is We don't know. We may never know.
Mhm.
But what the case proves is that when institutions fail to cooperate, when evidence is withheld, when investigations are compromised, the truth becomes impossible to find, and families are left with questions that haunt them for decades. And Gareth Williams' family, has been fighting for 14 years. His sister Sherry, his parents, they have refused to accept the accident theory, which I would not have accepted
I wouldn't
either.
either.
I would have demanded answers the same way that they are. And they have been met with silence, obstruction, and contradiction, which, baby, you would not hear the last of me, okay? You will rue the day,
Rue the
rue the
day.
day that you got
And
this.
they deserve so much better. All families deserve better
Yes,
than this.
they did. They deserve better, and so did Gareth. And if you do want to go deeper on the case, the 2024 documentary, The Spy in the Bag, New Revelations by Firecracker Films, explores the cover up evidence in detail, which pretty juicy. The
Mhm.
original inquest records are publicly available and make for sobering reading. And if this case frustrates you, if the institutional failures, why can I not talk? If the institutional
Failures.
failures, my mouth is like it. I literally am trying to get it to do what I'm telling it to do, and it's doing what it wants. Like my tongue just relax when it goes to ers.
He gave up.
If it angers you, good. It should anger you because only way these systems change is when enough people demand accountability. All sources and links are in the show notes. Thank you for spending time with us and thank you for remembering Gareth Williams.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes, we will see you next week. And please, if you guys enjoyed the show, comment, like, review, share,
Subscribe, share, tell your
subscribe. We
friends,
do
tell
all
your
of the
families.
stuff. Do all the stuff. Um,
Come interact with us on our socials.
yes,
We are begging. We beg this every week. Please come interact
yes.
with us.
It
So we
means
know
so much.
people
It
are
helps us
listening.
grow.
Yes.
Yes, and for all of you guys, I just want to say for those out in Thailand, Bangladesh, Austria, Hong Kong,
Germany.
Germany, all the international people listening to us, Thank you guys so much. You have no idea. Even the one download that we have been getting in these other countries, it doesn't matter from anybody anywhere. We're just super excited that people are listening and that it seems like you guys like what we're doing.
Mhm.
And that means a lot to us because this is like our baby. So we
Yes.
hope that y'all keep coming back. And if y'all would like to interact with us, like my mom said, reach out to us on the social medias, or you can reach out to us via email on coffee and crime with mom at Gmail or at Outlook. We'll respond to either one of them. Let us
Mhm.
know about ideas for the show or coffee ideas or whatever. If y'all have a weird story or some kind of personal mystery or whatever the case is, just hit us up and let us know. And until then, stay sweet, you guys.
Take care of yourselves.